Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video, we're talking about restricting space. And let's get started with an overview. The formation we'll be using is the 4-1-4-1 out of possession shape. This formation is incredibly strong when defending because it has two banks of 4, and 2 banks of 4 gives you a wide coverage area across the entire field. But we also have that added defensive midfielder, which gives us even more flexibility. We'll look at an example here in a second, but some quick thoughts. The strength of the formation is in those 2 banks of 4 and the added midfielder. This makes it difficult for the opponent to work wider areas and forces them back centrally. And of course, the central areas is where we have our strength because of the 3 midfielders. I find the 4-1-4-1 out of possession shape pairs well with 2 in possession shapes, the 4-3-3 and the 4-2-3-1. These formations all have 2 players on each flank, and they both only have 1 striker. And while we're not specifically making one today, this formation is also good for counterattacks. Formations with wingers out on the flanks are always good for this playstyle. Speaking of strikers, that is one area where you're going to have a weakness with this formation. Because there's only one, the striker is usually ineffective in pressing the opponent high up the field. Personally, I don't mind when center backs are passing the ball around because I'm content in our defensive shape. With that said, if you like to press high with a high tempo, I would look for something with multiple players in forward areas, so a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3 out of possession shape. Our team sees us heading back to Antwerp. And these are the 2 tactics. In possession, it's the 4-2-3-1 we talked about in the recent Create Space video. And here's our 4-1-4-1 out of possession. This is what I would call a balanced setup for defending. All the roles are general ones. And we're not defending too far one way or the other. Not too aggressive and not too passive. The striker is a normal center forward. It's a role that has a nice balance of dropping while also staying high. We've got 2 central midfielders and a defensive midfielder behind them. On the flanks, 2 wide midfielders and 2 fullbacks. What I'm doing is banking on the formation itself, doing a lot of the heavy lifting when defending. I'm putting players in areas where I think they can be effective, and I'm not deviating too far. I find that sometimes just having players back can be effective as some tactic with a crazy distribution of player roles or instructions. I call this generic approach the do your job approach. Stay in our shape and don't do anything too crazy. But funny enough, the match we're going to look at, we actually lost. We played well, at least defensively, and it's a good example on how you can do almost everything right and still lose. So let's head to the next section and check out highlights on how we defend. Our first clip has the opponent building out from the back after a dead ball. It's a good look at our defensive shape. We've got the center forward, 2 central midfielders, 2 wide midfielders, 2 fullbacks, and then the 2 center backs. The key piece in this whole endeavor, though, is the defensive midfielder. The opponent is playing in a 4-2-3-1, and our DM is in perfect position to mark their 10 out of the match. The opponent builds their possession, and this is the defensive style that I like. I don't mind them having possession deep in their own half because it's not necessarily dangerous. When they do get into an advantageous area, it would take something remarkable to break us down. Now, with that said, it's looking like they have 2 wingers or at least 2 wide players at the moment. The weakness of this formation is in the half space. So if they had 2 inside forwards, who would be maybe here, we'd be in real trouble because the weakness is in that space between the center back and the fullback. So if you're using this formation, keep an eye on the opponent and what roles they're using. With this play, we're able to force the turnover. In this one, we've got the ball just outside their penalty box. When we lose it, we're going to focus on the 2 fullbacks and the defensive midfielder. I don't have the counter press or any instruction like that on, so they're going to drift back and give us a solid foundation. Turning the ball over is going to happen during a match, but we don't want to make a bad problem worse. This is the most dangerous area of the field. I want players protecting this area. Their winger on the flank is open. Remember, you can't cover everything. But we're going to see the type of pass it would take to get it to him. A lofted ball that my DM is able to intercept. We get a shot away even though we had turned the ball over. Our last clip starts with their midfielder on the ball. Like the others, they're trying to get it into the midfield, but their possession essentially turns into an umbrella, where they're staying out on the flanks and no available passes into center areas. This is the foundation of my defensive tactic. They can have the ball in deeper areas, but when they progress it up the field, we close in around the ball and force the turnover. The team has been playing well, as we're 4th through 10 matches. Defensively, it's been good too. We've only conceded 9 goals in 10 matches, but 4 of them have come from corner kicks. So only 5 goals have been scored from open play. The 4-1-4-1 is an effective tactic when defending, especially if you like the more balanced approach. If you like some player role shirts or maybe a digital FM planner, you can check out the Half Space Apparel online store. I've also got a Patreon account if you'd like to support the channel. Anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.